Hello, this is Mike, and welcome to PHP Programming Lesson 32. And today we're going to consider probably one of the most important concepts in PHP, and that's the one of inheritance. So we're going to start with a real-life example. We have a Windows calculator that we've built here, modeled after the Windows calculator. And if we just run it real quick to show you how it works, if you go 5 times 5, hit the equal sign, you get 25. Now that took a little time because it was pinging back to the server. So once again, remember, we're running Flash on the front end. This is Flash Builder, and on the back end we're actually running the server. So now that's kind of connected. You can actually go a little faster. Times 3, 18. Let's clear that. 7 divided by 5, that's equals to 1.5 or 1.4, and so it works just like the Windows calculator does. Of course, the problem is I don't have all the functionality that I want. Typically you have a little percentage here and a square root. Let's take a look at how we would extend this calculator. Now on the back end of this calculator is a PHP class that is running it. So what we want to do is actually extend the PHP class. And what that means is we're going to use the concept of inheritance to add more functionality to the base class without actually having to rewrite that base class. So let's take a look at the base class itself. So if I open up the program, I take a look at the services folder. I look for the PHP. Here it is right here. It says simple calculator. Let's open that up. And you can see I have just the basic functions in that class. I have addition, I have subtraction, and then I have division, and I have multiplication right here. But I want to add also square root and any other function that I might decide I want to come up with. But maybe I don't want to rewrite this class. Maybe I just want to extend it. And let me show you how to do that. We're actually going to go to PHP lesson 32 now and take a look how that might be done. And to do that, we're going to use the powerful concept of inheritance. So here's the base class right here that you saw earlier that I brought into Flex Builder. And I'll just scan down here. And so that's my base class, but I'm going to create another class, and I'm going to call that Update Calculator. And what I'm going to do is just extend it. And what that extend word means is I'm going to take everything from that base class and put into my updated calculator class. So this extends. You'll see it all the time when you're working with PHP classes, and you definitely see it here because in this updated calculator class I only have one method, the method I want to add. Isn't that cool? So you might be asking, well, why am I doing this, Mike? It's so easy just to rewrite that and stick this method back into the previous class. Well, what's going to happen is you're going to actually get a whole classes that are just not just 20 lines like this one is or 50 lines like this one is, but are thousands of lines. And all you want to do is change a little bit of the functionality. So you're going to find that this extends will be your best friend, and you'll be able to do actually this. And this gives you a whole lot of power as far as changing huge classes and bringing them into your favor. Many times you're going to get a class, it doesn't quite do what you want it to do, but almost. Just extend it, and you're going to use this method to do that. And so now I want to go ahead and run this and see if indeed what happens. So I'm going to bring this up and explain what I'm doing. What I want to do is go ahead and just run Update Calculator, this class right here. And I want to run the square root method, which I've created, but also I want to run the divided method and the multiplication method. But wait a second. But those methods don't exist in the updated calculator class, but they do, because I've extended it. So it's brought all the functionality of the previous class, the simple calculator class, and brought it down and plugged it into the updated calculator class. So without even having to write all that code, it's there for me automatically. Let's go and run it and see if that's what we get. So the particular class I'm going to run here is actually Video 32 Calculator PHP. Let's make sure we go to that and run it. So go to your drop-down menu right here and go to go to Run Configurations and choose Lesson 32. There we go. Let's OK and apply, and then let's run it. And indeed, we see the square root of 25 is 5. 5 divided by 10 is 2.5, and 5 times 10 is 2. So it runs perfectly. But I actually have a little bit of a problem here. What I've done, I've actually stuck one class inside of another, and I can't always do that. I don't have the luxury to do that. Sometimes I can't even access certain classes the way I want to. So what I want to be able to do essentially is to import one class into another. This is commonly done in Flash Builder, and you saw that in the previous lesson where we imported the class that we needed to extend. And so in this lesson we're going to use the keywords. So in this lesson we have 4 keywords we're going to examine. Require once, include, and include once. These are very important keywords. What require does, it actually is identical to include, except upon failure it will also produce a fatal error. So it stops the program where include will try to keep running. A require once, what that does, it actually looks at your program and says, hey, has it already been loaded? If it hasn't, doesn't load again. What load? What require is going to do is just basically bring whatever program you put in there and bring it in, import that class. So a require for PHP is the same as import for Flash Builder. And we also have the include statement, basically the same thing, except it gives you a warning when it doesn't work. Include once again, it examines if it's already been included, and if it hasn't, it includes it. So you'll see include once, and you'll see require, and you'll see require once in many programs. I like the require once or require because many times in my programs, if I can't import the proper script, it shouldn't be running in the first place. So let's go ahead and take a look how that might be used. So I've actually taken these two classes right here. The simple calculator class right here and the updated calculator class right here, and I've separated them into two separate classes. Okay, so if you go to my PHP and take a look down here in lesson 3, you're going to see a basic calculator and an updated calculator. Let's go ahead and open up the basic calculator. And all the basic calculator classes is the first calculator, which where you have add, subtract, divide, and multiply, and that's it. But that's my base class that I actually want to import. So let me go to my updated calculator. Let's click on that. And there's my updated calculator right there. And once again, there's my square root method. What I'm doing, I'm extending that base calculator. That's all there is to this particular method. I'm going to open up some code here so we can actually run it and show you that it runs exactly the same. But note, what I've done, I've actually included once the basic calculator PHP. So what that does is it brings in that code from that class, and then I extend that code once it's been brought in. So let's go ahead and run the method. Alright, make sure that we're pointing to it, and there it is, exactly the same results, 5, 2.5, and 250. So what you're going to be doing is using that require once or include once in your programs, in a sense, to bring in other classes so you can extend them, and you'll see that over and over again. And as we work with more advanced applications, you'll see that as well. And pretty much that's all there is to this particular example. If we go back to Flash Builder, you can see what we're going to want to do in order to extend our calculator is bring in the new PHP classes on this side and add the square root button. So what we're going to do next time is actually start building this calculator from scratch now that we've covered the concept of inheritance. So let's go over what we've learned in this lesson. We've learned that you can increase the functionality of the class without actually rewriting it, but using the concept of inheritance. So we took the simple calculator class, which had addition, subtraction, division, and multiplication, created another class, which we called it updated calculator, and added the square root functionality just by extending that simple calculator. Wasn't that great? And then what we did, we actually learned how to separate those classes out so you wouldn't be running everything in the same class. But we discussed that this might not be practical actually to put classes inside of classes. It's better to have separate classes and use the concept of require once, include, or include once to, in a sense, separate those and bring one into the other. So in the final part of the code, we basically had a require once, which brought in the required code. We extended it using the concept of inheritance, and we added a new square root method. So in the next video, we'll start building this calculator from scratch, and we'll use the concept of inheritance to extend its functionality. And we'll continue our discussion of classes and more PHP functionality. Thanks for listening. This was Mike Lively, and I'll see you next time.